The woodwork is really lovely, very sumptuous.
You can't fake that.
It's really very lovely, very old school looking. Lovely boat. And then I close this. Singing in the rain. Can you do some of that?
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Okay. Hi there, this is Captain Q. Join us as we travel hither and yon to show you some great deals on some really interesting boats and maybe learn just a little bit with each one.
Hey, Captain.
Hey, oh my God, he's back again?
You're working.
Hey, Randy.
Hey there.
How you doing this morning?
Good, how are you?
I'm fine. I'm fine. Another beautiful morning here. The sun's barely come up, but we're here in beautiful Yarmouth, right on the Royal River here at Yankee Marine. This is a Shannon 39. Some call it a 41 because he's got a 2-foot long bowsprit on her for anchoring and for carrying her headsails. She's kind of a combination of the old and the new, but she's nice and deep and full forward, which is going to give you that nice sea motion we like in a boat, not pound your guts out going to weather. Pretty simple sort of wine glass sections out through the middle here, and the fin keel is not a true fin. It's just an elongated keel that's been cut away in the aft to give you a spade rudder effect, but it's actually a spade rudder. The rudder is an unbalanced hung rudder behind a full skeg.
What do you mean by unbalanced?
Well, unbalanced means that the shaft for the rudder comes right down here. If it's a semi-balanced rudder, the shaft would come down somewhere in here. A little bit of the rudder is in front of the shaft. When you turn this like so, there'll be water pushing it on the front edge to help you steer the boat, which gives you a little lighter helm sometimes. This is a nice safe version if you're cruising. The chance of hitting a spare log and knocking off this free-hung balanced rudder is minimal. And you got this big skeg right in front of it with a big solid 3-bladed prop. We haven't seen too many of these so far. Everybody's been going for the folding or max props. And in front of that is another one of these cutters, which is just amazingly sharp.
That would work on your beard.
Oh, I forgot to shave this morning. Damn, I didn't think you noticed. And down here you see a zinc, a sacrificial zinc. This is a lesser metal on the scale, and will eat itself up before it starts to eat up the prop or eat up the shaft materials in here. So this is just sacrificial piece.
Tell me about this cutaway here.
It really is nothing more than just something they felt it's probably going to make it keep the transfer of water from going from one side of the hull to the other and give you a little more tracking capability. It's like having a little extra keel without a lot of wetted area. Anything that's blue is wetted area, and it will be a drag going through the water. You take out this big section here, and that's just less wetted area, and put this in, and you've got a little more stability to keep it from moving sideways. So this is for tracking, and give you something also to hang the skeg on, to bolt that onto the after part of the whole keel arrangement. Here we are again. We're back in the cockpit of a beautiful Shannon 39. Glad to see you were able to make it up through that hole in this white awning we're living under. These were built down in Rhode Island. They've got about 5 or 6 boats in their line, right up to 50 feet in length. Nice sized cockpit. This is a 1999 boat. This is 12-foot beam. Another foot over 39 feet gives you a lot more space on the boat. Gives you a lot more room to have a really comfortable cockpit. And they push the cockpit way aft, as you notice here. She has full double lifelines, coated lifelines, and stainless steel push pit back here, which is very hefty. Full stainless track running along the tow rail with nice low-lying general cars on it.
Why is there a chain plate back there?
Could be the split backstay for the main. Great area for the skipper to sit back here. He's got his engine controls down here, all fresh and new, a nice Yanmar panel, a Ritchie compass dead ahead. He's got his Raymarine GPS. There may be a radar in on this unit. I can't tell. There's so many different units out there right now. Getting around, moving around the cockpit is easy. You can get out behind the wheel. It's a smaller than average or usual wheel, let me put it that way, and it may be just for that very reason, just to allow you to move around and get around from the helm's position. This has got a nice shallow piece right here, and that tells you that below that there's going to be a quarter berth, okay? It's a dead giveaway when you can't put anything down there. There's a quarter berth. On the other side, I'm going to bet there's no quarter berth, and this is all the cushions for the cockpit. They're stored away for the winter.
So why would they leave this tray here?
This could be covered with ice, and there's a little drain in it. You could put ice and some sodas and sandwiches and cold drinks up here. Anything you want. You're always looking for someplace to store something. Nice pigeonhole lockers here for your winch handles and glasses and so forth that you don't want sliding around in the cockpit. Bilge pump right back here, built in, like so. And your handle goes in that bilge pump, and you pump here if you got a leak below. And they put a nice big hook here, and that's what you hook your lifeline into. So when you're back here at night, you're lashed in there with your life harness. You're not going anywhere. It's good. It's a good arrangement.
I like this little slope aft part of the cockpit.
If the boat's heeling over to port, that will then become flat down there. You can just stand there and steer the boat with one hand. Now they've got all the lines are set up on board here to come back through these line stoppers. That's what those gray boxes are back there. They're set up to have a line run through them and come back aft from the mast, come through this thing and go around your winch. And then when you want to, and you leave this up, and then when it's running free, and then when you're satisfied that whatever you've controlled is done, you close that down, that locks the line, you can take it off the winch. 6 of those up here for different control on the mainsail and the jib. You can see the top of these hatches, for example, have teak slats in them.
It's a really nice detail.
It is, and it's good because it helps keep your feet on this. When these are wet, they're very slippery, and if you're working at the mast or around the mast, you need all the traction you can get. We've got 4 Dorades boxes up here that are set up to give you fresh air below, keep things nice. On the bowsprit up here, we have a serious windlass with a separate cat on one side and a separate line hauler on the other. That'll handle all the chain, all the anchoring you need to do. And there's 2 nice rollers just off the bow, port and starboard, to handle your 2 separate anchors, whether they're Bruces or CQRs.
Do you have to set 2 anchors often?
Really only in heavy storm conditions, or worst case, a hurricane coming of some sort.
That bowsprit might be my favorite thing in the whole boat.
I'm glad you like that bowsprit.
I think it's my happy place. I really like riding up in there. And what's this for? Just throw it.
That's a bail to hook the. There's 2 of those. There's one small one right there, and one forward, and that's where you hook the tail of the anchors into.
Okay.
The anchor will lay over the black rollers, and then the shank of the anchor will come back and drop through that pin, going through those 2 stainless jaws. And there's 2 sets of those for 2 anchors. Lovely boat. Has a nice grid for the non-skid. It's attractive as well as functional. This is very rich feeling in here. It's very solid. This boat is now 21 years old, but it looks like it's a day old too. So a lot of these boats have been taken very good care of up here in New England, and they're not just left out all year round to suffer the slings and arrows of winter, snow, and ice. The green fabric on the settee sets it all off very nicely. I think the molded slats in here gives a nice, crisp, clean look to it. Great big center hatch overhead. That'll give you, I won't open it because everything is pressed down tight on it for the cover. Center line, just off center line, is a nice big fold-up table. Berth-wise, you've got one settee that will be one berth down here. This is the settee cushion on the port side, and you can see how big that's going to be when the settee is pulled out. It's traditional looking. It is a plastic of some sort, a laminate of some sort, so it's going to be easy to keep clean. I'm not certain about accessing fittings on deck. Sometimes that's a problem, but it looks like where they feel there's a need, they've put a wooden patch that could be pulled down and access a winch or a railing or something up on deck. A lot of boats we've seen recently forget about handholds down there. They'll put a little something outboard, maybe a little drip tray. Here, we saw that on even the B40, but here there's nothing down here, but these are substantial. And again, I can hold hold myself up 2 ways on that and feel very safe and secure working my way around the boat. Galleys are special ports on a boat because it's very important to get meals out and feed your crew. Again, 2 deep sinks. We like deep sinks, don't we?
We like two, too.
Yeah, we like 2. 2 is great. Salt water and a freshwater pump. Here's a hand water pump right here. This, you can pull this little handle up and pump water out of your water tank if there's something wrong with the pressure water system. And there's also a salt water pump. And does that look like salt water? It does.
It does, yeah.
So, yeah. Pot and pan storage, typical. Big 3-burner Tasco propane gas stove and oven, big oven on this. And it's all gimbaled. That's so it allows this to swing when the boat heels over. When you've got your pot and pan on here and it's filled with boiling water and the boat heels over, that pan will stay level and the water level inside there will stay where it's supposed to and not end up in your lap. A nice sized fridge. I could peek down in there. Food and plate storage. That's a nice big bin back in there. Lots of light are coming in through these port lights. It is a dark interior. There's a dark wood and the dark green fabric is very rich feeling, very solid feeling. Now the overhead being bright and shiny helps that a lot. We've got a nice chart table area over here with a quarter berth behind it. The big cushion for this is in the forward cabin. Access to different water tanks, fuel tanks right there. Plenty of good access. Nice sized table here. Let's try the Captain Q measuring stick. Let's see if we can slide in there. Oh, it's a little tight for the Captain Q. This is very nice and firm. Once you're in here, you're really going to be in and there for the duration. All necessary instrumentation. It's all very tidy. A great looking circuit board in there.
Yeah, I mean, for a 39, that's a nice quarter berth, kind of cozy.
No, that's a very good point. We have to remember the size of the boat. 39 feet with a 32-foot water line. So we've discovered the trick, thanks to Randy, getting the companionway off. I'm going to have to ask him to open up that little,
There you go.
little piece for me. And the rest of this gets easy now at this point. And actually, the accessibility, once you figure out the 4 thumb screws that hold everything in place, which is great. I mean, if this boat were ever to turn turtle, you would not lose the companionway.
This is nice and accessible, like up and high, too.
Yep, up and high, right here in your lap. Your Raycor filters are right here. Everything is ready to go. And if we took off the front panel, there's two slide bolts here on either side that will allow you in there without too much trouble. Yeah, this would be okay to work on.
That's a really nice, clean-looking engine.
Yeah, this would be a good place to put in one of your blazes too. Warms up the whole thing. It's a dandy. This is a little old school right here. We used to have hanging lockers for your wet gear that would actually drain down into the bilge.
Speaking of the bilge.
Speaking of the bilge, we should take a look at the bilge.
What do you think? Super clean?
I think it's probably going to be surgical.
Oh.
Yep, it's surgical. It's surgical. A tiny drop of water there, just because you can't always get every last drop out. Okay. Hey, buddy.
Hey.
Listen, we have another one of these 2-for-1 heads. It's a big head.
Oh, it's your favorite.
A great big
Let's see
head
what else
here,
we got.
which you could swing a dead cat in. I hate to say that, but
Where the whole 9 yards comes from.
a live cat that wants to be swung. A lot of room. And but if you're in the forward cabin and you've got guests back in the main cabin, all you have to do is close this door here. I'll pretend it's closed right now. And then there's a second door here that opens up and bifolds on itself and parks right in there. And then you can step right into your main cabin with all the privacy you want. So that works pretty well. And once all these cushions are in where they're supposed to be, this would be a very roomy compartment. Again, they've done a great job on the woodwork throughout the boat. If that was a redo job or whatever, I don't know, but it's in beautiful condition.
It's a nice size head.
The really big head,
Really big.
and we just latch that, and we're all set. And then I close this, and I'm singing in the rain, just singing in the rain. This boat's really happily set up for a couple to do some single-handed sailing and maybe the occasional guest to show up. And this would be the couple's main suite up here. There's a large filler board here that will fill in the space that I'm standing in right now. And it has its own cushion, and this would sit right down in the middle here and give you a super king-size bed. There's a nice little hatch up here, large enough to escape with if you need to, and plenty of light coming through an opaque plastic cover. And so you have privacy and light, and also enough air. It is appears to be reversible, so that's nice too, which means that if you're at a mooring, you can open it up this way so that the air will come right through it from the bow, or if you're in a dock or another situation where the wind's coming from aft, you can open it the other way. You'll get a breeze. And there are two port lights on port and starboard for light and ventilation. The woodwork is really lovely, very sumptuous, and the boat's very clean. For 21 years old, it looks like, you know, it's rarely left the yard. It certainly hasn't had 10 grubby guys drinking beer and beating their way to Bermuda.
I think I read they had all the varnish work inside redone about 10 or 15 years ago to a satin finish.
Oh, that could be. Good eye. That's exactly what it looks like, and it really is handsome. One of the things about these Shannons is when you first see them, like this 39, it almost feels like you're looking at a character boat in some ways. It has this jaunty little bowsprit. She has bronze oval ports along her cabin top. Her little bum there, she has a beautiful heart-shaped transom to her. It's really lovely. And then you take all that in with a long flowing, sweeping shear line. It's a very pretty boat, just sitting at the dock. This is an ideal boat for a single-hander or for couples. One thing to bear in mind about this boat is that originally she was very expensive, about $450,000. And you'll get an idea once you get on the boat. You can see where that is. It's a very solid boat. It's not a huge eggshell kind of structure. When you go below, the areas are dark and tight and solid. You feel like you're really in something terribly substantial. Today, if you want to buy this boat brand new, you'll be looking at close to $650,000. Everything works. The winch has been rebuilt. Everything's been done. She's ready to go to sea. As soon as they unwrap it, get this white stuff off of it, and put the spars in. So, Randy, I know you want to know a score on this boat, and I should ring the bell right here to announce this, but she's a 10. Obviously, we all know about boats that float, and I give her another 1 to take her up to 11. Another one on top of that for the strength and the beauty of the boat. And for my ratings, I'm going to give her another 3/4. I'm going with a 12 3/4 for this boat right here. So that's our rating for the day. An extraordinary opportunity to buy a boat for 1/6 of its current new build price. If you like what you see, please hit the subscribe button. And if you want to be notified when the next one comes out, please hit the alert bell. And that's not desperate at all. We're having too good a time doing these things, so you can hit the bell or not. Randy, how would I ever find out what's coming up next?
You can follow us on Instagram here,
Yeah.
or Facebook here. We'll have little previews of what's coming up on our next episodes a little bit early.
That's pretty cool. Previews. You all join me. I'm going to Instagram right now, and I'm going to find out what's coming up next week. Thank you very much.
You know, Instagram's not a place.